Hello, everyone. Oops. Yeah, there we go. All right, just having a couple of technical blips today, but I think we're good. And I'm hoping that you can see and hear me clearly. So, I am Patty Tolar, and I'm going to welcome you to my Facebook Live this afternoon, where I'm going to talk about selling from the heart. We've talked about different aspects of it today, so we'll see what comes forward. I would love for you to just give me a hi when you come on. Um, I'm I just feel like this is so much fun. The only thing I have, the issue I have with Facebook Live is that I like more interaction with my audience, and I don't get a lot of interaction from you guys. On Zoom, I always take questions actually in several different places as I go along and do a presentation. So if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, and hopefully I'll see it. Sometimes I don't see everything that's going on. But here we go. So who am I? Goodness, I'm Patty Toller, and I live in Montana. And I know for all of you out there, there are so many experts in the coaching world. And you are searching for the right source of information. Someone that's going to help you move your business forward to the next level. And it can be so confusing to figure out who to listen to and who to, whose programs to take and who to hire as a coach. And who do you trust? So I'm going to just tell you a teeny bit about myself. And if you have an interest in working with me more, you're welcome to email me. You'll see my email address in the box, patty@pattytoller.com. You can also go to my website and sign up to be a part of, or send me a message actually through my website. People don't do that too often. I'm just so used to like send me an email to my email address. So there again, how do you decide? So, and you may not be real familiar with me until I started doing these Facebook Lives because I'm not, the loudest voice or the most visible face. And that's because I work in small numbers. My objective is to get really transformational results for my clients. So I've always worked very closely with a limited number of clients because I want to ensure they're going to get the results that they're after. So my programs have always been one-to-one, very customized to the needs of the client so we can focus exactly on what they need in the moment. And we work on transforming their inner game first, their outer game second. And what really sets me apart and the programs that I develop are a couple different things. First, is that I have just a very unusual combination of skills. Usually, you have mindset people, you have business coaching people, and some of them overlap somewhat. But I have a really really deep knowledge in both areas, guys. I have 25 to 30 years of business to business sales as a top producer, $1 million producer. And I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist and a life coach. So I have a tremendous amount of experience in transformational breakthroughs. And so you're getting the best of both worlds because what I learned for myself in sales is that sales is a mind game. You absolutely need skills. You need to know what you're saying and how to say it and when to say it. But if the mindset isn't there, if you aren't in that space of really being connected to the gift that you're bringing and the value that you're bringing to the table, then your numbers are going to have to be huge. So I'm just very uniquely qualified to help heart-to-heart entrepreneurs transform their relationships with sales. Because first we transform their relationships within themselves, and I want you to be able to easily and confidently grow your business so that you don't feel uncomfortable, you don't think you're being pushy, you don't feel sleazy or out of integrity. You can really look forward to having these sales conversations, deeply connecting, creating alignment with your prospects and your clients, and get the yes. If the alignment's there, the yes is there. Whether it's this week or next week or 6 months from now, the yes is going to be there for you. So, and I'll just, I've got a little quote here from a client. She says, Patty worked her magic to reveal the essence of what was holding me back, limiting belief removed. Not only did she turn the issue around, she empowered me to stand in my power around it. I highly recommend Patty to anyone who is ready to break through to the next level of success. So that's what I want for you. So today I'm going to focus on some, talking a little bit more about the mindset area and how important it is. Because it's absolutely important to your feeling of confidence, your vibration, your vibe, when you're in the process and interacting with people. It's also going to create the vibe that's going to attract more of your ideal prospects. And when you're in that right vibe and you are standing in your power and the power of the gift that you are here, I sound like I don't know. Anyhow, but it's so true. If you're in that place and you're standing in the power of who you are and what you're here to bring to the world, you're going to attract the right people, and you're going to, and no, everyone won't be a yes. Although, in full transparency, the one job where I was their top salesperson, selling over $1 million a year, I had in 13 years, I only missed one major presentation. But some of those relationships took me a year to establish before I got the big yes. And they were pretty big projects, a lot of them that I was after. I'm going to scoot back just a bit. All right, guys. So um, I'd love to help you. I want to help you. And I know so many heart driven, spirit led entrepreneurs are so resistant to sales. And I want you to stop and think for a minute. Else is going to grow your business? You only have business when you have a sale. And I know I keep driving that to you guys every week, every week. You're bored, you're tired of hearing it. But if you're not out there really embracing and mastering your sales skills and your sales mindset, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And I don't want you to. I want you to have the impact that you are here to have and have the influence with the clients that you're here to help and whose lives you're here to improve. So know that it's really important. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about how I've learned how important the mindset is. You hear it, but for me, I've got experience and demonstrate it. I don't know about you, but that's absolutely how I am. So I was working in my first real business to business sales position before I had done real estate. I'd sold Arabian horses. Yeah, I was actually a breeder, world class Arabian horses. That was my first career. And so now I'm like, talked myself into this position, which they didn't really want to hire me for because I flunked my personality test. And lo and behold, I'm having to dig in and really learn because I was very motivated. I'm an introvert, but I have a very strong will, and I determined I was going to create a six-figure income. So I had to learn, guys. I had to learn. So every day I'm in my car, it's outside, and I'm driving from client or customer or prospect to prospect, and I am listening to tapes. I'm listening to these masters. The Zig Ziglar, he's one of my favorite. And I actually saw him live in person a couple times. And Brian Tracy, you guys may not have heard him, but he's also one of these masters. And I was introduced to the book Think and Grow Rich, which is actually the strategies in there are how I landed that job. I had just been given that job, and I'm desperately looking for a better position. I was in real estate, and the market's just, and I needed something, like this, right? Because my bills are like that. So I decided that I read the book, and I had applied for another position before and got turned down. And once again, flunked my personality test. I wasn't what I needed to be a salesperson. So I don't want any of you guys to ever buy into the fact that you don't have what it takes to be a salesperson. Because you do. If you're meant to do the work, you're meant to be able to sell it. So I read Think and Grow Rich, and I used the strategies in there to sell myself into this position where they basically told me no. But I'm stubborn. I'm like a mule. And so I'm working in this job and I'm learning and I'm learning. I'm starting to really have, I'd probably been there a little under a year, and I'm really starting to have a lot of success bringing in new customers because, quite frankly, the boss was sure I wasn't going to be any good and he didn't give me very many accounts. And it was a base plus commission. So the number of accounts you have has a very direct impact on how much money you take home. And they hired two of us at the same time. They thought the other girl was going to be their superstar, and they gave her two or three times the amount of accounts that I was given. Yeah. So, but instead of believing that was a reflection of who I was and what I was capable of, it pissed me off. And I said, I'm going to show them. And so I did. So I've been there about a year, and I'm really starting to have success. And I noticed the senior sales rep was another woman who'd been there quite a few years, maybe 8 years or something. And she knew the business. She knew her job, but she wasn't really bringing in the number of larger new customers that I was bringing in. And having listened to these tapes and trained myself, I started listening to her talk in the sales room. Okay, guys, we are so oblivious to what we say most of the time. It goes back to that 90 to 95% of the time our subconscious programming is running our lives for us. So I started becoming more conscious. I didn't know that particular figure at the time, statistic, but I'm listening. I'm learning what you say. Think and grow rich, right? So I'm listening because what we say is a reflection of what we're thinking. And then when you read into it, your body language, your voice, how you're saying it, what emphasis you're putting on it. And I hadn't recognized that before I started educating myself and becoming more conscious of what she was saying. It was a constant drone of negativity. The company was too pricey, and there weren't any more good prospects out there and the company had been in business quite a few years, 20 or more. And so somebody from that company had visited, every prospect out there, which is an exaggeration. But let me tell you, a lot of them had been visited by previous sales reps. So, but it was okay. So it really taught me. Made me recognize and consciously acknowledge the truth of those things that I was learning, or new philosophies that I was being exposed to. So I want you to understand that for yourself and start paying attention to what you're saying and how you're saying it. Catch yourself. You would be amazed. So often you're surprised at what is really going on in your head. You think you're thinking or being in one way and you're not. So bringing those aspects, those thoughts, those limiting beliefs, those old programmings that we are operating from in a very unconscious level to consciousness, because that is when you have the gift of making a choice. You can change how you're responding, what you're saying, how you're being. But if it's unconscious, if you don't even know what it is or how you're being or thinking or doing, you can't change it. So that really is the number one step. Now, when I work one-on-one with my clients, I use a process that is based in clinical hypnotherapy but has other modalities mixed in, because I actually include some energy work, some spiritual work, some other things, and a lot of the body mind connection, which is really an interesting piece. So what what I do then is help find, I call it core belief transformation, because I help them find the core experience that created this belief that's no longer serving them. And I never, you never want to eliminate the experience. You just want to bring an adult perspective into the experience. So as you start being conscious of what you're saying, I highly recommend journaling. Really, get your journal out, and it doesn't have, and I'm the world's worst speller. I have terrible handwriting, but I get so much wisdom when I just take a few minutes and sit and reflect. You don't have to take, 20, 30 minutes if you don't have it. 5 or 10 minutes is 10x over none. Okay, so sit with it. So you catch yourself in a negative thought or a negative, you're speaking the words out loud, which gives them even more power. Of I don't know what to do. That's my favorite. Okay, guys, we all have our, our stories and our limiting beliefs and our go-to, patterns that where we stop. Okay, and I have to really watch myself because I have recognized that my favorite is I don't know what to do. And so we then procrastinate. We don't take action. If that's yours, anybody has one they want to put in the chat box, and acknowledge that is the place where where they stop, or the belief that stops them, and we truly believe that's true, and we can actually go to our conscious intellect, and I guarantee you can find an experience that will show you that you don't know what to do. You can convince yourself of that, or you can question it. I find powerful questions, and I know there's a quote out there that says and I don't remember whose it was, but the quality of our life is, determined by the quality of our questions. So going back to if we're asking ourselves, um, I don't know what to do. Well, what if we said, what do I do next? Because if you keep asking yourself that, you will get an answer. So instead of going, I don't know what to do next, just say, I do know what to do next. It's now becoming clear to me. Or I know what to do next. What is the next action? What is the next action I need to take in this moment? That's an excellent one. What do I need to do in this moment that will move me forward? So know that what you are, experiencing in the moment, becoming really conscious of it. Another way that's really, really powerful is to learn to sit and do a body scan. And it's so interesting, but two very divergent modalities have taught me the power of being conscious of what we're holding in our body. And the first is a very special modality I was trained in hypnotherapy, called rapid reintegration process. And it taught me that we hold the memories of our emotions in our body. And you guys may think, what is this to do about sales? I'm telling you, this is all about sales, because it's all about raising your awareness, and just start getting rid of those limiting beliefs and old stories, and just being in that moment of totally being in that high vibrational place to create alignment with your ideal client. So you don't have this old record saying you aren't good enough, you don't know what you're doing, money is bad, successful people are selfish, and whatever your record is in there, you turn it off and you start overriding it with programming that's going to support you. So going back to the body scan, a body scan is really, really powerful. And I was going to say the second modality besides my RP hypnotherapy modality is my equine assisted coach. I didn't mention it, but I'm also a certified equine assisted coach. And in that particular system that I was trained in, we are taught about the power of the body and the wisdom that we hold in our body. And there are a lot of really wise people in the health industry that also teach that. I know Dr. Christiana Northrup does as well. I learned, actually my first learning about that was in one of her books many years ago, because she talked about how certain emotional traumas often lead to certain physical dis-ease. So and I kind of learned that. It was kind of in the back of my mind. But then anyhow, and so then I keep hearing it and hearing it. So I've decided it's something really important that I need to pass on and teach others as well. So if you learn to scan your body and in awareness, and just notice without judgment what you're feeling. You will be astonished at how much you're feeling, how much of your emotional experience is felt in your body. But beyond that, we hold the memories of those experiences in the physical, in the physical. So, because our body mind is all one. We think it's up here in our brain, but it's not, guys. So as we learn to just scan our body, and I would just do this on a regular basis. I have actually a body scan meditation. If anybody would like it, you can email it or DM me. And I did put that, but it's Patty, Patty, at pattytolar.com. And you can email me that. For that, and I'd be happy to, to send you the link. I didn't set it up. I often, I kind of go with these very intuitively. I have a plan, but then what comes up comes up. It's what I feel like my audience needs in the moment. So as you learn to scan your body and you feel into your body, so maybe you're preparing for a sales conversation, your favorite thing, like you can't wait, but you're starting to be aware that you have some resistance to it, or maybe you start becoming aware that you just don't feel good. Okay, you don't feel excited about it. You don't have excited anticipation. You really rather not do it. So if you just take 3 deep breaths and sit and just notice what you're feeling in your body, it can, and you'll say, oh man, I feel tightness in my throat, or maybe I feel nauseated in my stomach, or my chest just feels like there's uh, lead sitting on top of it. So it can be really valuable for you to just notice it. Sometimes, if it's something you want to release, you can breathe into it and lighten it up. And it's really powerful to journal about it. If you don't have time to take out your pen and journal, ask some questions. Ask, what is the wisdom in this feeling? I feel like my throat is just going to, clamp shut when I get on the phone and try to talk to my prospect. And why am I feeling that? What is the message in it? And at first, you may not get answers, but if you do this on a regular basis, you will absolutely be astounded with the messages that you will receive from these feelings in your body. And you can, I'm checking the time, guys. You can actually feel that, and you will get answers. It'll start telling you, I'm trying to keep you safe. And then you can ask it, well, if you what are you trying to keep me safe from, challenge it a little bit and ask it, and it gives you a lot of information. It's really, really powerful. So I totally encourage that. And there again, anyone that wants my free body, it's very short, 5 to 10 minutes, so it doesn't take a lot of time. And after you've done it a few times, you don't need to keep listening to it, but you can, because it's just a nice focus point. It keeps your mind from wandering off, because I can't tell you, I've done it myself. Well, I'm going to check in with my body. Whew, take a couple deep breaths. And then the dog bark or something happens, or my mind wanders off. Oh, I forgot to send that email I was going to send, or whatever it is. So it just gives you a focus point to just go in, scan your body, and have a conversation with it. Ask it, what is the wisdom in this feeling of tightness? What are you trying to tell me? Um, what is your purpose? That's a big one I work with my clients around when I'm doing one-on-one sessions. We always ask in the memory or in the feeling, what is your purpose? Because it'll lead us to the memory of why it thinks it needs to keep. Most of the time it's about keeping you safe, but often its logic is not in alignment with you as a grown, an adult woman. And it isn't sensible. It was sensible to you in the moment when you were 3 or 5 or 7 years old and you created this belief, but it doesn't work for you any longer. So don't be afraid to bring those things into consciousness and challenge them. And I'd highly encourage you to create a guided meditation or some affirmations that, like they're 180 from what that limiting belief is that you've carried around, and say them, put them up on your mirror, and just really acknowledge the power of who you are, the gifts or gift that you bring to the world in the work that you are here to do in this moment. That's why you're called to create a business, because you have something to deliver that only you can deliver in the way you can deliver it. So, as I mentioned when I first got started, is that I have always worked in very small numbers because I love the deep one-on-one work. But I also understand that it isn't for everyone at this time in their business. Maybe they don't have that but in their budget. So I wanted to make my work available to bigger numbers. That's one of the reasons I'm coming on here every week, guys, and giving you, some little bits and pieces of what I do and how I do it, because I have not met anyone else that does sales training exactly like I do. And there are very few that do the personal transformation in the way I do it either, because of it's just the gift I have in this moment to bring to you, and everyone out there. So we all have our own way and our own life path. My one client said, I helped her find her soul signature, and it is in your soul signature, your heart's calling, and the gift of the work that you are here to do at this time. So I really am excited about my group coaching program I'm putting together, and I will be putting out, watch for information on it. It's not, I don't have my sales page up. Maybe by next week. I'm officially going to launch it on the 1st, or I'm going to launch the marketing for it on the 1st, and I'm only going to, it's like around the 20th, I think it's the first day I'm going to do it. So it's a 30-day program. It's a lot of information. You're going to learn it. You're going to learn it fast. We're going to do some of it together. And we are going to create you as a masterful sales conversation. So the focus of it is to help you create those heart-to-heart conversations. But there also will be the mindset element. You'll have a daily practice for success mindset piece, and then I'm going to teach you the 6 steps one-on-one. I'm going to go in deep and teach them to you, and then we're going to have times to get together as a group, and I'll coach you in the group, each one. So I'm not planning on a giant group. So if you're interested, you can email me, you can go to my website and get on my mailing list, but I would love to have you join me in my first group program. It's not an opportunity I've ever offered before to all of you out there. So do join me. And I am so happy to be here. I will be here again next week. I hope you'll join me. And if you have questions in the meantime, throw them out there to me, guys. I'm open. I'm happy to answer your questions. That's what I'm here for. Take care and go out there and sell something.